Hi everybody, Nick Jakes here from Auckland, New Zealand. Big thanks to Fernando for inviting me to be part of the TBD Tennis Innovation Conference 2021. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? My presentation today is going to be on creating an effective environment to inspire. So hopefully this session provokes some thought and gives you some ideas on how to evolve your program or make some tweaks or make some big changes, whatever it might be, because there's always room for improvement, of course. Just a little bit about me, I guess. I moved to New Zealand when I was 5 years old. I was born in Leicester, England. I went back to England when I was 19 to work. I've coached in total 26 years, so 19 of those years would be in England. I worked in a couple of little clubs, and I got a really good opportunity to work at Park Langley Tennis Club, which was my main club, the main starting club, the big one. I then moved to Sutton Tennis Academy. I then worked for the LTA, Lawn Tennis Association, and then I worked probably at my dream job. Probably the highlight of my career so far was the All England Lawn Tennis Club, Wimbledon, which is a fantastic place to work, as you can imagine, with lots of great learnings and opportunities there as well. So I'm going to talk about how I've implemented or brought in everything from all those memories and experiences and my own values and beliefs, and created a program here at the Albury Tennis Park, which has really skyrocketed in the last 2 years, in regards to how many people come along. We've gone from sort of 284, I think it was, to just under 600 in that time. So I like to share sort of what I think is going pretty good, and maybe some of these things might work really well for you. And any questions that you have at the end, and I've got some contacts for you to get into touch with, either Bounce, Evolution, or even just myself at the end. So the objectives of the session are the vision. So first thing is to create a vision, appropriate challenges from the team. So the team could be volunteers, helpers, assistant coaches, parents, and obviously the kids as well. If you're in a club, it could also be board members, committee members, and so on. So really trying to get the team together and working together with the same vision. Evolution, Kids Tennis, and Bounce, and this being the two programs that I use to bring elements together that I feel that should be connected. The elements are social, practice, lessons, competition, and parent communication. So how can we create a program that brings all those elements together? So no stone is unturned. So we're making sure that everybody knows what they're doing. There's opportunities to play. We're meeting the capacity of the child, and also working with the kids' motivation. So start with positive vision. The purpose: does the program cater for different motivation levels and current level of competence? So what that means is when a kid first comes in the door, is there something for them where they can just instantly join that meets their current level or current needs? Now, dynamic vision is, as the student gains experience, the vision needs to be modified according to the change that occurs. Likely more ambitious goals need to be voiced. So they might come in for one thing, but that doesn't mean that in 6 weeks' time or even a year's time, they might start wanting something else. And equally, they might come in with this idea that they want to be a world champion tennis player. And then over time, they realize, well, I actually don't want to put that much work in, but I don't want to stop playing tennis. Is there anything else I can do which is a little bit more relaxed, a bit more social? So do you have that in place? That's really, really key before we get into the nuts and bolts of everything else. Understanding the child's why. What would they like to get out of the tennis experience? Where do they see the tennis taking them? Whether it's developing new skills and just wanting to play, to make more friends and be around like-minded people, or an ambition to become a high-performance player, which really is the minority. But in saying that, if a child has a dream that they want to do that, does the program, or do you know a program where you can refer them to somewhere else? So obviously we're all trying to create tennis players here. So hopefully, if it's not in your own centre, if you can't cater for the high-performance player, can you create a pathway for where they can go? And I'll give you some examples of that pretty soon. So putting it all together. So I'm going to give you this analogy. I had a parent seminar not too long ago, about a year ago, and I got the parents into two groups. This is part of the parent communication part of the Evolution Kids program. And one group had a puzzle with a picture on it, which is a picture very, very similar to this. And the other group had a puzzle but with no picture. And I asked them to create the jigsaw puzzle. And you could see the ones that didn't have a picture were getting a little bit confused, asking questions like, what am I supposed to be doing? What is this? And then they started joking a little bit, but a bit loose on what they should be doing. Now, the ones that had the picture, they were just going bang, they're straight into it. They know exactly what they're going for, and they know exactly what they're doing. Now, obviously, they got the puzzle a lot quicker because they got to the destination much quicker than the others didn't really know what they were doing. So I use that as a moment for the parents to really think about, okay, so with this program, with this environment, we're trying to make sure that this picture might look a little bit different, but we need to want to know what the picture actually looks like. The team. So create the environment, a team environment which is driven by behaviors and tactical framework, pursues, recognizes, and values effort, personal improvement, and progress. So what that means is you're not coming into this program just hitting forehands and backhands and serves and volleys without any real tactical understanding. So we've got to get the behavior right first. There's certain ways that we want kids to behave, and we want to teach them the game of tennis. Provide inspirational motivation, an inspirational environment that enhances confidence, excites, and offers hope for a better future, whatever that future may be, on where they're trying to go. Build role models. Effective coaches understand the value of role models and work hard to create an environment around their players to provide access to appropriate role models. So we're going to look at two types of role models that I've just tried to identify here. The first one is a process role model. They demonstrate the desired qualities and characteristics of the program. For example, it's called a workout. So these are people that are that you're hopefully keeping at the club or the center, and they weren't necessarily the best players in the world. They were maybe good players or average players or not even that good players, but their experiences they are now an advocate of the program, and for whatever reason, the experiences that they had, they will sell the program for the fact that it's enriched their own life, and they want to give back to the young kids. And then you've got your outcome role models, which are evidence of outcome success from players associated with the club program, giving the other players belief that it can be done. So if I go back to Part Langley, where one of my first places that I worked at, which was very, very influential to me. The more I think about it, the more I'm thinking, wow. When I was, we had a young girl called Emma Raducanu start there. You guys probably know who she is by now. At the time, she was about 6. And again, she would have had an experience that hundreds of those kids, thousands of those kids would have had. Not long after that, I went to the Sutton Tennis Academy and worked for the LTA. And when I was at the LTA, this is about 2 years later, Emma Raducanu, she's 8 or 9 years old, and she's just as inspired as she ever was, probably more so. So you can see that this program, this environment is actually really, really ignited from where it was when I was there originally to 2 years later. She's even more pumped to play. Now, she's a great example of an outcome role model because she still goes back to the club even to this. I'm not sure about to this day, but within speaking to Harry Bushnell, her coach, and if you visit his Instagram, you'll see pictures of her going back and being involved in this annual event called the Davis Cup that they have, which was absolutely brilliant. And she was helping out with that program, even as I think it was about a year ago, she was still there. And I'm sure she'll still go back. And that's a great example of inspiring those young kids as an outcome role model. Appropriate challenge. So the level of expectation from the coaching team must be agreed. Agreed high levels of behavior as the child's safety comes first. Creating an open top box. So the sides of the box provide sort of the boundaries, whilst the open lid of the box, the players to inspire to believe they can move sort of upwards out of the box. So we really encourage one of the big behaviors in the evolution program, well, the 4 behaviors are compete, explore, train, and respect. So the explore part is like, okay, here's the boundaries. This is the level of respect. Okay, so we need to be kind to other people in the group. We need to be respectful to the parents. We need to be respectful to the equipment and the coaches. but let's explore. You know, we're not telling you how to play. You know, there's no lid on top of this box. So we are encouraging you to explore and create your own identity when you play. Express yourself when you play. So Evolution Kids Tennis, it provides missions through to 1 to 6. So it's like a bit of a video game in itself. So rather than a linear approach where the age sets the ball you work with. So if you're 8, you don't have, doesn't necessarily mean you're playing red. If you're 9, it doesn't necessarily mean you're playing orange. So for example, here's an idea. You've got a 10-year-old girl comes into the program, never played tennis before. We throw you in a green ball program on the full court. Well, we know that skill level to play on a full green court is pretty difficult. So if we expect her to cooperate with another child and use the principles of short tennis to competently play from the baseline, we're kidding ourselves, you know. So it's not unusual to at the Albany Tennis Park program, Evolution program, is to go into what is a green session, which is the destination. Not necessarily they're actually doing it at the moment, but that's the destination. We want to get you get you playing on a green court whenever we can, and whenever the capacity and the motivation and the opportunities allow you to. You might be playing in the service boxes with a felt ball because we're trying to teach you basic trading or 50-50 or neutral ball from where you're trying to keep each other behind a certain line. So that might be done in the service boxes with a felt ball. And that's absolutely fine. And then we might progress that. So we can use modified equipment, low compression, modified courts to make the learning much easier during the growth and development of the child. It does not determine where they should be. So missions 1 to 6 is when you're this 10-year-old girl might be mission 1. So that's where she's at. That's her report card. That tells the parents where she's at currently. Can she do this? Does she have these technical skills? Does she have these technical skills? Does she have these physical skills? What behavior does she currently have? And that's allowing them to learn at their own pace. So they are just trying to work through these missions like it's a video game. And it's motivating. And then we give rewards and recognition from going from one mission to another, rather than saying you're a red ball player, you're an orange ball player, you're a green ball player. It's too linear. It's not going to keep kids in the program, unfortunately. It needs to be tailor-made. Bounce is the very interesting bounce. We've actually implemented this probably in the last year, and it's been massive. So I can't endorse bounces as much. It's impossible to endorse them as much as I could do. Okay, so all I'm going to say is I'm going to give you the next 10 minutes of the presentation is going to be about bounce, so you can see what it's all about. And if you enjoy it and you like the concept of it, I can give you some details at the end where you can get in contact with them, or you can contact me and I can give you a little bit more information about it. So it adds to the environment by motivating the kids through rewards and recognition, easily defined by the coach, tailored to each child. It's absolutely aligned with everything else I've talked about so far, and that's why I enjoy it so much, and that's why the kids and the coaches and the parents are all over it. Adds a video game-like experience, so kids get excited to learn at their own pace, rather than be judged on where they should be compared to others. So rewards and recognition is vital, which we're going to get into now. Before we do that, here's one of my favorite visuals. For a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. As you can see the lineup there. Can you imagine the amount of anxiety that must be going through the elephant, for example, or the goldfish? So our education system, everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. If a kid in your program starts to feel stupid because they can't do something, and they're probably going to leave pretty quickly. If they're progressing, but it's reasonably slow, but they know where they're going, there's a good chance they're going to stay. So this is really, really important. Here's a little video here, and I'll just talk you through that. This is bounce. We're going to get solely into bounce now. It starts with scheduling. We also have attendance tracking. This is all downloaded very, very simply on an app. Player rewards. So I'll talk about the player rewards in a second. Coach management. So managing the week, timetables, who's in the group, etc. Payment management is also an opportunity for this all payments to be done through the app. Now, we don't use, at Albany, we have a link system, which, because the program's pretty big now, that doesn't work for us, so we don't use the payment system, but we just get the parents to download the app. And I'll talk about that in a second here. Oh, I don't want to do that. Sorry. So the tech built for great coaches that give a, yeah, can't quite read that, but I think you can get the message. Okay, so gamify the play experience with the coach at the core. Okay, so we have the player app and we have the coach app and we have the club system. I'm not going to talk about the club system today because I don't use that part, but again, I can give some details on who you can get hold of for that. The player app is what the parents download. The coach app is what the coaches download, so we're instantly connected. The badges is the ultimate gamification reward tool. So some of the badges are, you break a string, you get a reward for pretty much anything. So you can imagine some kids are super motivated for getting badges for breaking a string. Others are going to be motivated because they were the star of the session. They gave the highest level of effort. Some of them like to be rewarded for technical, tactical gains or physical skills that were developed. So there's so many, and we won't have time to go through all of those, but a couple of them, like you get rewarded for behavior. That would be mainly in a lesson. For example, behavior in a practice session could be, I see them outside playing in the wind, and we have an award, a badge called the Weather Walker. So you're out, it's windy day, instead of going, oh God, it's too windy, I'm going to give it a rest. They're out there battling in the wind. Bang, I noticed that, I see that, or one of the coaches see that, or the parents send me a video going, hey man, you got to check this out. That's rewarded. Okay, that's an instant tick, tick, on the phone, straight away you get a badge. I'm like, oh cool, I was noticed for playing in the wind, how cool is that? Things like tactical genius, where they might not have the best technique, but you can see that they're implementing stuff out of the lessons into the competitions that we have, or the practices, where you can see them trying to think about the game holistically rather than just a forehand and backhand, and analyzing the shape every time they miss the ball, rather than go, okay, let me just try and figure out, there's two ways to win a tennis match. I'm going to try and make you play really badly, and at the same time, I'm going to try and play as well as I can, and that's going to be with the current tools that I have. How players book on the classes, very simple again. So I talked about just briefly before that, we're connected. When I download an app, parents download an app, we're connected. Players book onto the classes because it's set up by the coach. You then notify the parent that it's ready to book on. They just simply book on, they look at the time. So for example, this session is 4 o'clock, it's a flyers session. They can see that on the coach on it, so go, yep, that's definitely the right one I'm supposed to be on. That they click on it and their attendance, and I get a little beep saying that they're here and they're going to be coming to the session. So it's really easy stuff. So the players book on through the app, and the coaches do the same thing. Hopefully we know what sessions we're doing, and then we start to see which parents understand how to download an app and click on, and if they're not, we can obviously get in contact with them, and then once they're all there, we can really start giving out what's called XP points. And this is how we start marking attendance. You get XP points for attendance. You also get XP points for when we give feedback. So there's 2 types of feedback. There's individual feedback, which is a little bit more time consuming. So if you've got a smaller group, that's the best way to go. If you've got a big group, you can do a group feedback. So individual feedback, I might be quite specific on what they did well or what they need to work on. It could be, this is where the key parts come in as well. Rather than say, hey, great lesson, you did really well, see you next week. What about, hey, look, saw you're pretty challenged with this and that. Here's some exercise that you can do, and you give them a link to like maybe a YouTube channel or a Facebook page or Instagram, and say, hey, these exercises are relevant to this. Off you go and practice that, and you know, you're encouraging that practice outside of the session, which again is stopping them believing that lessons is the only way they're going to get better. We know that resilience and repetition and perseverance is going to get them to where they want to go a lot quicker than just doing a 1 lesson a week. The group feedback, you could just be putting in, okay, this is what we did today, this is what we achieved, this is what we're going to be doing in our next session. And you might get some very specific, go to such and such, I would like you to watch this particular video, or do this, or do that. So there's so much opportunity. And as soon as you click that button, that you feedback, it instantly goes onto the parents' phone. So, I mean, getting feedback that frequently and that quickly is really, really valuable. What your players see and receive, they can see updates on where you're rating them in regards to their overall game. They can see the badges that they've achieved. So some kids love to just collect badges. Others just want to get more badges than somebody else. We get wristbands here that go 200 points, 1,000 points, 5,000 points, 10,000. It's all XP points like you would do in a video game. Some just love collecting the wristbands, T-shirts. The competition is connected. So every time you turn up for a competition, this shows up here. You get badges for competing. You even get XP points for your parents turning up to parent seminars. If you're regular attendance at practice session, you get XP points for that. Social events, everything's connected. So we're noticing everything. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. Badge check, yeah. So again, this is just an example here where you might give you updates on how to get badges and what really the badges are, because some might not be aware that they might not win a tournament, so they know that they might not think that that's a realistic goal for them, but these are all the badges that you can get. So we allow them to be able to see and understand what that is. Okay, and just sort of finishing here, so I did mention a couple of times in the presentation that if you wanted more information on Bounce and how it might work best for your club or center, you can go to bounce.com there. Now it's Bounce, it's spelled a little bit funny, BOUNX.com. They can help you sort of figure out if there's a tailor-made sort of way that they can fit with your program. The Jake's Tennis Seminars is sort of examples of what's going on in the program, philosophy statements for the parents. If you want to like the page and get updates there, you might get some, it might be quite helpful for you in regards to ideas on how I speak to parents and coaches and how that connects with the program. And then the Jake's Tennis Solution is my YouTube channel, and that is just solutions to potential problems. So there's a couple of seminars, and there's a playlist of some of the seminars, the skills and orientation, differentiation, all these motor skills, ideas and group lessons, some technical drills and skills that you can do. So all sorts of stuff there to help out as much. It's obviously all free, so you don't have to pay for that. So I really hope this presentation's helped. I hope it's pretty short. It's only 20 to 25 minutes. So hopefully, I apologize if I'm talking a little bit quick. I'm trying to cram some of the stuff in, but please contact me if you want any more information, anything I can do to help you with your club and center. I mean, my motivation is purely around if I can make a difference to you, whether it's in person or virtually. If I can help it as much as I can, that gets me up in the morning, that motivates me. So I really hope this presentation is going to help and influence you in some kind of way. Thank you again for listening, and I look forward to seeing all you soon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the presentations because the lineup looks fantastic. I certainly can't wait to see all the presentations. Thank you, and bye from New Zealand.